friends, welcome. All right, so I was just in our Facebook group and saw this beautiful comment from a new online therapy private practice builder and thought this is a great time to answer that question on video. So, the question that this person had was, look, I'm new to online therapy private practice and I'm struggling to get my first client. She shared that she has gotten her EHR, she signed up for a directory. Basically, like I'm doing all the things that she also is on her Facebook page, and it's a month in and no clients. And she's heard people saying, like, hello, it takes time to build. And she's wanting to know, is this what they mean by it takes time to build? So before I jump into the answer, I just want to double check that we're actually showing up on the YouTube. Let's see here. And then we'll jump in. View your channel. Awesome. Live. Sweet. Okay. Answer. Go back, Am. You can do it. There we go. So it does take a while to build your practice. You're going to see me doing this a lot as a dog wants to go in and out because he's the boss. And she mentioned, I'm going to look over here at her comment. She says, I'm reading that if you pay and sign up for this directory, then you're going to get this many clients. And if you sign up for this directory, you'll get that. Is this my only option? I've already signed up for Psychology Today. I've invested in EHR. I've invested in a website and a domain. I'm trying to invest time on a Facebook page. And here I am and no clients, right? So let's back the train up for just a moment and get to high level view. When you're building any kind of business, it's important to remember that our expenses as an online business, though it feels painful, oh, I don't know why the light's changing, though it feels painful to have to pay the things that we have to pay, they are far less than almost any other business. So the fact that it's online, the fact that in general, we don't have a lot of expenses in terms of physical products or having to pay to store physical products like books or whatever we might be making. There's no widget for us to store, so we're not having to pay for that. Keep perspective around how low our startup expenses are. Second piece, and this is just to give big perspective, most businesses fail. And that's not true of private practice and online private practice. So we get to experience the gratitude around, like, we're not a restaurant, and a huge percentage of those will never make it to profitability. We tend to be profitable within the first year, which is unheard of in the business world. So while it can feel really scary to have outlaid cash for an EHR and maybe your business credentialing and things like that, perspective taking, we're investing very, very little compared to others, and our chances of success are much, much higher. And we have to be realistic about how long it takes to build and what it takes to build. So let's get into the heart of the question here. She says, I've invested in EHR, which awesome. I didn't when I first started. I thought, oh, I'll just keep electronic records on my computer. And that was fine because I was starting part-time. I was still working a full-time job. Not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a pain in the neck to transfer those into the EHR, but I was really worried about cash in the beginning, and so it made sense for me to do it that way. I think you're making the smart move by having invested in an EHR to start with, and I know in your question you also mentioned that you were working with a few of those intermediary companies that will get you credentialed with multiple insurance companies. So that's also a really good way, if money is tight, to start off in your practice. When you begin a practice, you can make a choice. You can do private pay, you can be insurance based, or you can do this kind of thing in the middle where you work with an intermediary company, and there are a few different types, some better than others, that will shorten the process of credentialing for you because they kind of do it under their umbrella. So the benefits of private pay are, of course, you're going to be making a lot more money than if you go the insurance route. I shouldn't say, of course, in general. In general, there's a $60 an hour difference between private pay and insurance. Ah, the dog. There we go. There you go, Bubba. He's going to come back in like 30 seconds. However, the downside of private pay is you are limiting accessibility for clients, but the downside for you in private pay is it does take considerably longer to build up your caseload, and you have to invest time in learning how to market. Okay, so with insurance, you're having to invest time in learning how to go through the credentialing process, how to make sure that you're doing it correctly when you do bill insurance so that you will actually get your money and that they won't claw it back later. So with both sides, there is a learning curve, but with insurance, you tend to get paid faster. Okay. So benefits of private pay, you're going to get paid more in general, usually $60 an hour more. Uh, but the downside is you're going to get clients slower and later. It's going to take longer to build. The plus side of insurance is, of course, for clients, accessibility, but for you, it is not just a way to get paid, but it's also a form of marketing. So when people want to use their insurance for therapy, they tend to look at their insurance online, see which providers are covered, and pick one of them. So insurance gets you closer to the clients. There's much less marketing work that is involved. The downside, everybody knows the downside, right? Like it takes a long time to get paid sometimes. You're not sure if you're going to get paid. Once you get paid, they might claw it back. It's hard to do the paperwork, some say. Some have no problem with it at all. So I don't want to paint a inaccurate picture or a biased picture. And of course, on your client side, you're having to give up protected health information to people who aren't in the mental health or physical health world. They're just people who are doing billing. Okay. So the middle ground, which I think as a newbie therapist is where, particularly as a newbie therapist with financial limitations, I think that's where I would have started. Um, because you can get in with a company like Headway or Alma, and they work as an intermediary between you and in the insurance companies. So there's not such a steep learning curve with the credentialing process. They do tend to distill down what you need to know to successfully bill. So you don't have quite as much to learn if you were going directly with the insurance companies. And sometimes they're even able to negotiate a higher payment from the insurance companies for you. Not all the time, but sometimes. So there are some real benefits to going with them, and you get started more quickly. There are also downsides. We can talk about that in another video if you want. Then there's the option also in this kind of intermediary space that's very different, which is working with a tech company, like tech companies that I won't name. And I would be very cautious about doing that. And I'm not saying this from some sort of like holier than thou place, but be sure to read the terms and services before you sign up. And what I would recommend that you do, and I made a whole podcast about this if you want to check it out, we'll link it in the show notes. Uh, read the terms and services for the therapists and read the terms and services for the therapy clients, because this company is not a licensed mental health provider. Their requirements in those contracts are very different from your contract with your client. And so sometimes there can be some things that are at odds between those two contracts, and you need to be aware of that before you sign up. So, all that. So, you are ready to answer your question directly. You already signed up with one of these intermediary companies, so good on you. Now, there are some things that you can do to get clients more quickly. You said that you set up a website and a domain already, so kick butt, good job. Now, you can use that website to do two things. One, get clients quickly, one, get clients long term. Long term means investing your time, not money, in SEOifying your website. For therapists, there is way less that you have to do to have successful SEO on your website. I'm going to give you the things right now, the quickie things. You will want to have in your headers and subheaders, and the back end of your website will tell you what's a header, what's a subheader. You will want to have keywords in there that your ideal client would search for when they're on the internet. So there are three quickie ways to gain SEO on your website, and that is to use the headers, the subheaders, and what's called the alt text to put some keywords in that your therapy clients would be looking for. I'm going to give you some examples. The headers and the subheaders are self-explanatory when you get into the back end of the system. The alt text is simply whenever you have a picture on your website, the back end of your website will give you an opportunity to write some words to describe what's happening in that picture for folks who cannot see it and are using like a screen reader to tell them what is on the website. So if you put in text there that is helpful both to the person who's trying to understand what the heck is this website about, and also to Google, who is trying to understand what the heck is this website about, that will help you get found. Those are the three places that it's very important to have words that make sense to Google and to your ideal client. How far down the SEO rabbit hole do I want to go? I think I'm going to leave it there for right now, other than to say, be specific in your keywords. It's not enough to say something like anxiety treatment, because there are too many other therapists out there writing anxiety treatment on their website. So you're not going to get found if there are literally 100,000 other people writing the same thing. We want you showing up on the first page. So one of the ways to do that is to be highly specific in the words that you choose to describe what you're doing. So instead of saying anxiety treatment, something a little more specific might be to say CBT for anxiety, which you would only ever use if your ideal client was like, I know, I want CBT for therapy. Or you might say something like, let's make it even more specific, um, fast treatment for panic disorder in Dallas, Texas. So now we're only competing with other therapists who are listing Dallas, Texas. We're only competing with other therapists who are listing panic disorder in Dallas, Texas, and only competing with other therapists who are listing fast treatment for panic disorder in Dallas, Texas. So the tighter your copy is, the keywords are, the easier it is for you to get found because you're competing with fewer people. I hope that that makes sense. If you're looking for more marketing help, I do have a course called the Marketing Intensive, and you can just ask me about it and I can give you the insider scoop on when it's open and how you can join. But you don't need to pay big bucks when you're getting started. Let's get you some money in the door. So, in other words, don't buy anything yet. I really don't recommend paying for someone to SEOify your website, especially in the beginning, because therapists don't need that much help with SEO unless you're in a group practice, and then I might have different advice. Okay, so the next thing that you mentioned was spending time on a Facebook business page. The value of a Facebook business page is only in the fact that um, it has organic SEO built in. So I would not spend much time on your Facebook business page at all. I would set it up. I would write out for myself maybe 30 to 45 posts, and then I would put those on auto repeat. Just repeat those little bad boys over and over again. Because the purpose for us, this is very different than influencer marketing, which is not what we're trying to do. We have a business. We're marketing a business, not marketing our influencer status. The difference for us is that people are going to go to that Facebook business page to validate that you are a genuine business. They are not randomly coming across that Facebook business page and then being like, oh, what's this about? These are awesome posts. Click. Oh, now I'm on their website. That's not how it works for us. What tends to happen for us instead, and of course, I'm talking about like the big bell curve here, right? I'm not talking about outliers. What happens for us instead is that they have found us either through somebody who's worked with us before, whether it be a former patient or maybe a collaborator on care, like their endocrinologist or a friend of theirs. They've found us maybe through our website and the fact that it's SEOified, maybe through a YouTube channel we started. They found us and now they're like, okay, I'm digging this person. Let me make sure that this is not some weird catfishing situation, that this person's an actual business. So then they Google us and they find like, oh, we have a Google My Business page. Oh, we have a Facebook business page and we have a website. Okay, we must be legit. That's it. So just don't do anything weird with your Facebook business page and you're basically okay. The other piece that I would recommend, and this is a little tricky as an online business, is setting up your Google My Business page. Google My Business is a way that businesses are found on Google, which is the biggest search engine out there. So we definitely want to please Google. Google My Business recently had a name change, but if you Google My Business, you will find it. Um, They will want to verify your location. And typically, the way that this goes is when you set up the account, you are going to need to include your physical address, the address from which you do therapy, which is probably going to be your home. Don't panic because you will be able to hide this when it goes public, so people won't have access to your home address. But then Google wants to verify that that's a legit place, that you really do have a business. And usually, the way that they do this is they send a postcard to that address and you have to quickly respond. So that's it. That's usually the way that it goes. Occasionally, they get a little bit a little bit more complex, but you can always tag me and I will help you with that if they do. But usually that's the way that it goes. Then your Google My Business page will be live, you're able to hide your address, and you're more searchable. Pro tip, when you set up your Google My Business page, make sure you include your first and last name. So many of you come up with these amazing names for your businesses like Umbrella Counseling, or whatever, but nobody's going to remember the name of your business. They are going to remember your name. So if you are going to have it on Google My Business, which you should, you're going to want to have Umbrella Counseling with Patricia Jackson or whatever. You want to have both your actual name and your business name on there. You're going to be found more easily. Okay. Biggest bang for your buck is definitely Google My Business. So you definitely want to do that. I'm looking over to see the rest of your questions here. Okay. So the other piece, when you're brand new, it can help just to get a single client in the door to build your confidence. So it may be useful to you, it certainly was to me, to join a company called Open Path. And they offer a way for clients who need sliding scale to find sliding scale services. And you can list with them. There's no fee to you to list with them, and they will match you with clients who need sliding scale. You probably want to put in your contract and your informed consent the limitation on the number of sessions you will do at that sliding scale. Maybe you say 15. I'll do 15 at this price. But it really helped me just to get a freaking client in the door and to feel like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm running a business. I'm seeing my client. I'm doing good work. And then building from there. Okay. Last piece here is your free consultation. I noticed that you shared that you had a free consultation, but that they didn't qualify for your sliding scale and they couldn't afford or said they couldn't afford your rate. So, one of the mistakes I see people making with the free consultation, highly recommend the free consultation. Um, Even for insurance taking therapists, I know y'all don't feel like you need to do them, but I have strong feelings about it. We can talk more about it in another video if you want. But I do really recommend kicking butt in that free consultation and not making it just about the money. So if you think about yourself in the free consultation as a service provider, rather than like you're just trying to figure out if they can pay for services, right? Instead, think about here's a suffering person. It is scary as heck to reach out to start therapy in the first place, and they reach out to you. And so, as therapists, what can we do to? Sorry, I'm looking at the other screen over here. There we go. Okay, focus now. What can we do to help them to feel more comfortable and to help them with their goal of getting started in therapy or finding the right therapist? So I approach those free consultations with 20 to 30 minutes. And I say to them, the purpose of our meeting today is for me to know just enough about what's going on with you to help you understand where those issues might be coming from, what sort of therapy and therapist might be a good fit, whether it's me or with somebody else. I will give you honest recommendations. If therapy at all is the right fit for you, I promise to be honest with you about that. So it's almost like a miniature intake where our efforts are to connect with the person, to understand enough of what's going on with them to be able to start to conceptualize where the issue may be coming from. Is it medical? Is it situational? Is it, coming from their childhood? Is it something that requires behavioral treatment? Is this more psychodynamic? So I'm starting to get a sense of where the problem is coming from and what sort of treatment might be helpful. And then I'm looking at, am I good at that kind of treatment? Am I good at working with this personality style? Like, does my personality and their personality mesh? Are we going to be a good fit? And then lastly, are we going to be a good fit based on schedule, finances, all of that stuff? Because the service for me is in helping them to get what they need, whether that's me or somebody else. What I don't want to do is be like, you can't pay my rate. See ya. And now they have to go through this process with 13 other therapists. I would rather be able to say to them, okay, so whatever you do, don't pursue this type of therapy because it's totally contraindicated for what is happening for you. Instead, you want to pursue this type of therapy with this type of therapist. And I can give you a few names, or I can show you how to use Psychology Today, or show you how to use your insurance to find them. We're doing this for lots of reasons. One of those reasons is it is, to me, a very moral way to support people who are seeking therapy. Number two, you only want to bring people into your practice who are a perfect fit. Number one, to decrease your liability, like you don't want to be treating people that you're not really good at treating. Number two, especially in the beginning, it builds up your confidence when you're having success with a client. And if you're bringing in people with whom you know you're really good at helping, that's going to build your confidence, which is going to help in all sorts of ways in your business and in your marketing and in your therapy. Number three, when you are doing your very best work with a client, they are more likely to feel the results of that work, and they are more likely to share to other people how badass their therapist is, which brings in word of mouth referrals. Okay, so we really want to do the free consultation. You don't have very strong feelings about this. Some people are going to say, I already know, y'all are going to say in the comments, like, who else offers a free service? And this is really denigrating our profession. Look, if I'm paying a lot of money for a service, I usually get a free consultation. So if I'm working with a lawyer who is going to charge me $250 an hour, they usually will give me a free consultation. My financial planner, free consultation. Any sort of, if you were going to do, I don't know the right PC word for this. I don't think it's plastic surgery, but it's something like that, whatever that's called. You get a free consultation because it's expensive. If you are going to a fancy hair salon and they have to fix the problem that somebody else left, they will usually do a free consultation. So, my financial planner did a free consultation. This is not unheard of, y'all. This is normal. And even if you are working with an insurance company, if somebody's going to see you for 15 sessions, even the copay is going to add up, right? So for lots of reasons, really recommend the free consult. And I do think it helps you to fill your practice faster, which is the primary question that you are coming with in your comment. Okay, looking back at your question, in terms of the speed of filling your practice, it depends on a lot of variables. Um, if you're trying to fill, and I know this isn't you, but if you were trying to fill a private pay practice and your rates were medium to high, I would expect it to take 18 months for you to have regular new people coming in the door without having to do a ton of marketing work. Like 18, yeah, about 18 months. It is slow to start, and then you start to see people like, oh, okay, I'm getting regular referrals coming in. Then you get full and you think you shouldn't do any more marketing, but you totally should because you'll plateau. You want new leads constantly coming in. So 18-ish months if you're going hard at your marketing. If you are doing an insurance based practice and you're in an area that is not overly saturated and you have a particular niche, you're going to fill up fast. Like you're going to be getting clients, you're going to be full in 6 months. If you're taking insurance and you're in a highly saturated area and you are not advertising any kind of niche, you are just super generalized in your copy on your website, it's going to take longer. That's just how it's going to go. So we've talked about how to use your website to get clients, how to use Google My Business, how to not use your Facebook business page. We should talk a little bit about how to quickly get clients. And the fastest way to get clients is by having good relationships with other people who see your ideal client, like their physician, their psychiatrist, their endocrinologist, their if they're in college and they're struggling, they might be working with a resource center on campus. So you really have to think about like, who would my folks be seeing outside of me as a therapist? Who else would they be seeing? And build relationships with those people. We get in depth in the marketing intensive about how to build those relationships in a non sleazy, non salesy way that feels really authentic and full of integrity and natural. It just feels normal. And like you're being of service and not being like, give me some clients, right? But you can use those terms to help guide you. Like if it feels sleazy, it probably is, don't do it. If it feels markety, it probably is, don't do it. If you're feeling like, oh, I met this cool physician and we had a great conversation and I learned a whole lot about their practice and I saw a way that I might be able to do something to help them, like maybe give a talk to their assistants because they're getting overwhelmed by the number of people coming in the door. Like those sort of natural ways that you can be of service are a great way to build your business. So, in sum, I hope that you found this reassuring. I hope that you found at least one step that you could take over the next 2 weeks to help get clients in the door more quickly for your style of business. And I jumped around a bit. So if there are pieces that you heard that you're like, wait, 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 I need to hear more about that, please let me know in the comments and I would be happy to talk with you more about it. All right, friends, hope that was helpful.